Hi and hello, it's me, DJSoulbutter once again, and I'm here to do another edition of The Curious Case. And I first want to say thank you to all of you who've been watching my videos. I just hit 400 followers, so I think that's pretty cool. I, again, know that's not a big deal in the grand scheme of social media, but I think it's really cool. Been talking to you guys, talking about music, hearing about what you love, hearing your agreements and disagreements. It's all been appreciated. I think I probably have to do another pinned tweet introducing myself. The other one I have is kind of crap now, I guess. I mean, I've gotten marginally better at editing these videos, but yeah, maybe I'll do that. But anyway, I thought that today would be a good day for all of us to collectively, as one, have a bit of an existential crisis. Because today, I will be doing the curious case of Radiohead. So in February of 1993, we got the debut record from Radiohead, Pablo Honey. And to give my frank assessment of this album, I would say that this album had Creep, which is one of the most iconic songs from Radiohead, and that's about it. Because I always felt like this record was really derivative of the sound of that time. And if any of you watching this hold a special place in your heart for this album, I apologize, but I think even the members of Radiohead themselves throughout the years have kind of turned their backs on this album. They recognize that this wasn't the strongest start for a band that became so legendary. That's my impersonation of the album cover. Anyway, in 1995, we got the follow up, their sophomore record, The Benz. And this was a pretty big improvement in comparison to Pablo Honey. The songwriting was definitely a lot stronger, more cohesive, and you had more wide ranging instrumentation, adding elements of Britpop on songs like Fake Plastic Trees, really great hard hitting songs like Just. And I felt like, okay, we got some promise here. This was an eyebrow raiser. And I felt like, okay, we got something. This is pretty good. But I don't think as a society we were prepared for what was coming next. So in 1997, we got OK Computer. And I feel like we could all just collectively close our eyes right now and imagine how you felt when that opening guitar lick starts on Airbag and just the anticipation of what's about to come. And just so many amazing, incredible tracks on this album. The wild complexity and execution of Paranoid Android. I remember when I was young, I had a t-shirt of the lyrics of that song, Kicking, Squealing, Gucci Little Piggy. Um, Karma Police, amazing, iconic song. And, you know, it's crazy, like listening to this record, it almost plays like a greatest hits. Like the deep cuts don't feel like deep cuts. Every song on here is just so memorable. And I remember I did a retro review recently of Anima from Tool, and in that review I said how that record is one of the greatest jumps in quality and songwriting for any band from album to album. But this record is definitely up there. So in the year 2000, we got Kid A. And with this record, we got a pretty distinct shift in sound. There was more elements of electronic music. The instrumentation was a little bit more jazz-like in sound. And, you know, I remember when I first heard this record, I liked it a lot. And for some reason, being a total nerd, I thought, well, I'm going to be the only person who likes this because I'm deep and cool. But it turned out everyone liked it. It was highly critically acclaimed, loved by fans. And, you know, this represents something that a lot of bands are not able to pull off, which is basically we're going to go in whatever direction as a band we want to go, and you will follow us and you will appreciate and enjoy it. Now, when it comes to this record, at least this particular era for Radiohead, I do have a bit of a hot take, but I'm going to, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to save it for the next part. So the very next year, we got Amnesiac, a record that most people look at as Kid B, basically, because these songs were recorded during the same sessions as Kid A. Now, as far as that hot take that I was alluding to, I actually have always liked this record more than Kid A. Now, I know that might sound a little crazy, but first of all, Pyramid Song for me is one of my top 10 favorite Radiohead songs. And I also felt like this record is actually much darker than Kid A, especially when you listen to songs like You and Whose Army, I Might Be Wrong. And I also loved that closing track, Life in a Glass House. I always thought that was a really, really great way to end the record. Now, in my opinion, I feel like this record has just always been really underappreciated when it comes to the entire catalog of Radiohead. Just a really great record. So in 2003, we got the sixth record from Radiohead, Hail to the Thief. And on this record, they decided to pick up their guitars again and rock a little bit, which was a definitely a welcome thing for me personally. And we got some really cool, hard hitting tracks like There, 2 plus 2 equals 5. And in my opinion, I feel like this record is the most all over the place Radiohead has ever sounded on one project. Like, this was kind of spastic and very freewielding, but definitely a gem, definitely a really good album. I liked it a lot. So in 2007, we got the seventh record from Radiohead, In Rainbows. And this was very special. For years, I would have probably said that OK Computer is their best album or my favorite record from them. But as years have gone by, I'm pretty sure it's this. This is my favorite Radiohead album. And this is, for me, the most natural, human, grounded, and most intimate Radiohead has ever sounded on a record. And some of the songs are just so beautiful, like Nude, Reckoner. And it's kind of crazy to listen to this because it feels like you're in the studio with them as they're going along and recording this record. It was just really easy to immerse yourself into this organic wall of sound. This was truly special. But then they followed that up with a stinker, at least in my opinion, because in 2011 we got The King of Limbs. And this record, this is going to sound messed up, but in my opinion, I feel like Radiohead kind of sounded lazy or uninspired. I mean, this is not Pablo Honey bad, but yeah, I just didn't really care for any of this. I mean, Lotus Flower, that was a good song, but it's really forgettable in my opinion. But I will say, these songs do sound a lot better live. I actually saw them when they toured for this record, but that's the best thing I can say about it, pretty much. And as of this recording, the last record from Radiohead is 2016's A Moon Shaped Pool. Wow, 2016. It's been a while since we've got anything from Radiohead, but this was definitely an improvement in comparison to The King of Limbs. And I thought this was a pretty solid record. It definitely was very sad. I remember that. This was a very sad sounding record. I remember the majority of the lyrical content, I believe, had to do with the divorce of Tom York, and you definitely felt that. This record sounded like a sad, grown man, if that makes any sense. This was like grown up sad. But, maybe I should go back to this. It's been a while since I've listened to this record because I remember when it came out, I liked it, but it didn't really inspire me to keep it in a rotation of listening after its initial release. But, I just heard this week that Radiohead are actually back together rehearsing, and that's exciting. I will say I do like The Smile, Tom York's current band. I really have enjoyed their output, and I'm looking forward to that new record they have coming out soon. But The Smile, at the end of the day, they're not Radiohead. So whenever they do decide to come back and release new music, I'll be definitely looking forward to it. I'll most likely review it as well. And that's all I got. Of course, as always, thank you so much for watching. Peace, love, butter.